Hey, good people. Good morning. Good Tuesday. Good people. Whoo! I hope you're ready for this conversation today. I'm going to let folks jump in. Give folks time to get in because we are a couple of minutes early because early is on time. So glad to be with you on a Tuesday morning. I felt good today. Took a picture outside. The leaves are changing. I'm not a cold weather guy, but we're in the South and it's kind of cold. But good morning. This is got to be a good topic right now. Give a shout out. Say, hey, what up, Shelby? We about to have a good topic. Nope, not Renee's not with me today because I'm going in today solo. Renee told me to go in solo today. She said I got a message. I need to go ahead and share it solo, but I think she's going to be watching today. Man, we got a good topic for you. Listen, call your neighbor, call your friend, DM your leader, you DM your friend, like your teammates, like go ahead and let them know. We're about to go in today because we're about to talk some real talk. And if you got hurt feelings, this is not the one for you. You probably want to look at the recording, not the live. Like if you're kind of sensitive about these topics when we talk about employees and leadership, then this one is the one you want to go to the recording, not the live, because we're gonna talk straight talk. Real team, Brother Putney's joining us. Champion Brother Putney, what's going on with your friend? Excited about this conversation today. We're gonna get started here. In less than 1 minute. I would say, let's get the notes going today because we're gonna talk some real talk. We're gonna talk today about the employee experience. And I don't really like the word employee. I'm gonna go ahead and put out the disclaimer. I don't like the word employee. If you look up what employee actually is defined as in the dictionary, you won't like it either. I'm not gonna tell you, I'm gonna make you look it up. See, I'm gonna stop telling everything. My mom used to tell me, boy, you talk a lot. You tell it all. I'm not gonna tell everything. I want you to look up what the word employee means. Go ahead and Google it right quick. Webster's dictionary, what the word employee is defined as, and tell me if you want to be defined as an employee. All right. All right. Listen to me. I like teammate. Teammate. But we are going to talk about the employee experience. We're going to talk about the employee experience today. But before I get in, I just want to let everyone know who I am. Some people don't know who I am. It may be the first introduction to who I am. My name is Glenn Thomas. I am the Chief People Officer for a group called the Hard Work Leadership Group. And we are a team of folks that are passionate about not only leadership, but really about lifeship. Yeah, you got me. I just made that up. Lifeship. We are passionate about life and how people live their lives and how they show up in their leadership. And so Renee and Jamila and Greg and Jasmine and even Sydney, our new intern, our senior graduate intern, she's off the chain. We are delighted to be with you here today. Over the last 20 years, I've had the fortune to work with organizations, nonprofit, corporate, government sector, and leadership roles, and some significant roles where I was learning, I was failing, I was leading, I was listening, I was loving, I was doing all the things that we should be doing every single day of our lives. And I had the opportunity to meet a lot of exceptional leaders, coach some exceptional CEO leaders and board leaders. And 8 years ago, I kicked off this organization because I saw where I had failed in my leadership. And then I saw how I could actually be a better leader, but more importantly, a better person. So that's how we got here today. And because we're here today I want to talk about the experience, the employee experience. I first want to share with you a little bit about something. I don't know if you remember when you were a young kid. I don't know what was big for you when you were young. But for me, I remember my 7th birthday, 7 years old. I remember it was a big deal. I went to Sarah Smith Elementary School in Atlanta, Georgia. And my big birthday was about Chuck E. Cheese. I tell you, hold on for a second. For a somewhat passive role, I opine. Yes, you got the definition, Brother Putney. All right, so look. So my 7th birthday, I was 7 years old. I was excited about the 7-year-old birthday, and I'll tell you, it was the big talk of my class. Everyone was invited, all my friends, and I remember the excitement, the lead up, because I wanted to go to my most favorite place in the world. It was Chuck E. Cheese. And I don't know about Chuck E. Cheese today, but I go to Chuck E. Cheese, with my kids. I still love to take them to Chuck E. Cheese, but I remember feeling so amazing going to Chuck E. Cheese and wanting to be at Chuck E. Cheese. I had my good jeans on. I had my shoes ready. I had my shirt ready. I was ready to go to Chuck E. Cheese. I remember that birthday like it was yesterday, like literally like it was yesterday. And I remember walking into Chuck E. Cheese. I remember the smell, the pizza, and the games, the ching 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 ching. I just remember the feeling. I remember the experience like it was yesterday. I remember the $20 bill that I got. I put it in my pocket. I put that $20 bill in my, at 7 years old, $20 bills is $1 million. I remember the gifts and my friends, and they showering me with love, and the cake, and I remember the characters, and I just remember everything. I even remember losing that $20 in the little ball pit. You remember the ball pit? You jump in, and you jump in, and you going around. And I came out that ball pit, and my $20 was gone. I get upset about that $20 even to this day. I mean, that was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. I remember it. It was an event that gave me an experience of feelings and memories. An event that gave me an experience of feelings and memories. I want to have a conversation with you today about how our teammates, the employees in our organizations, I want to talk about their experience in your organization. I want to talk about the events that you as a leader, as an organization, that you enact such that they have an experience and they then have feelings that then translate into memories. I want to talk to you about the employee experience, the great experience, I like to call it. It's called the great experience. I know you may be familiar with the Great Resignation. It's this thing where, now over the last 2 years, people are deciding, what, listen, I'm about to be out on my own. Like, I'm about to be out of here. I'm going to another organization. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do some things that add value. It's something about a pandemic that says pause. Something, I mean, listen, it's the inherent nature of the pandemic that says pause, honestly. It's like, I can't go anywhere. What else can I do but pause? And it gives us time to think. And what's happened over the last 2 years, right or wrong or indifferent, no matter what you think about it, people have paused, and they are leaving organizations at an alarming rate. Now we'll say some of this, if not a lot of this, is a good thing. People are taking care of themselves. They're valuing themselves and their time more preciously. But there are a lot of people that are leaving organizations because they're not having a great experience. And today I want to talk about, as leaders in organizations, how we can begin to craft and construct the great experience. Last week we talked about manipulation versus love. Manipulation versus love. And we talk about the behavior of manipulation as opposed to the behavior of love. And if you didn't catch it, we're going to start posting some clips of that video. But manipulation says a few things. We kind of drilled it down to 5 things. Manipulation says less than. Manipulation says, strings attached. Manipulation says being passive aggressive. Manipulation says bullying. Manipulation says comparison. Those are behaviors. Those are feelings and thoughts that translate into behaviors to manipulate our teammates. But love, on the contrary, says you are more than enough. Love says that this is unconditional. Love says that you are forthcoming and direct. Love posits that you are being kind. And then love does not compare, love celebrates. These are the contradictory behaviors that are happening in your organization every single day. Listen, the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is manipulation. What can I get from you to please and fulfill my need? Manipulation. But there's something deeper as we get into this conversation about the employee experience. There's something deeper under the underbelly of manipulation. And I want you to pay attention to this word. It's called privilege. It's called privilege. I've been there and I've done that. I was privileged. I was a privileged leader. I showed up in my privilege. You know, I felt, because I offered a job to someone that they signed their name on the dotted line, that we were paying them a salary, a compensation, even some perks and some benefits, maybe even a Taco Tuesday every now and then, you know, maybe a ping pong table in the break room. We were giving of these perks and compensation, and because of such, I expected folks to show up and show out. A privileged leader is not a servant leader. I hope that didn't hurt somebody's feelings. I know it probably may be hurting some folks' feelings, but a privileged leader is not a servant leader. If, in fact, you have the honor of being in a leadership role, you are not a privileged leader. You are, and you should be, in the business of service, the service business. Yeah, you know. You supervise a team of 10, maybe 50, maybe a team of 100. Doesn't matter the size. But the reality of it is that you are in the service business. And because we're in the service business as leaders, sometimes in our subconscious, we forget that. And we show up as privileged as opposed to in service. Because we show up as privileged as opposed to being in service, we forget that what we should be doing is creating an experience for every single person that shows up in our workplace. Let's talk about the experience. Let's talk about the experience. From the time you as a leader in your organization, whether you're in HR, operations, it doesn't matter. We all work together and we should be working together. The employee experience begins when you source the job. Now, I hope my CHRO people, my human resource folks are on here. I hope they're going to be listening to this. The time you source the job, let's say you're an ops person, the time you need a job filled and you work with HR to write the job description or actually put the job posting out, the experience of the employee literally begins when you write the description. When you write the description. How are you communicating to the prospective teammate? What type of experience are you providing them? Remember, there's the event, there's the experience, there's the feeling, and then there's the memory. The event is posting the job description. Right off the bat, when I read the job description, what does it say to me about you as an organization? That's the first event. And I know I've been there. I've written job descriptions. We've posted jobs and you know, we haphazardly do it sometimes. We take an old job description, we change it around a couple of sentences and we post it, right? We don't think about that this is an event that's going to create an experience that's going to create within someone a feeling about who we are, who we espouse to be. So I want to talk to you about the 3 R's. The 3 R's. recruitment, retention, and rewards. Recruitment, retention, and rewards. It's the life cycle of a teammate's experience. From the time you recruit them, the time you're speaking to them through their job description, from the time they reply to you in the job description, from the time that you set the interview, from the time you reply back after the interview, from the time that you give them the actual the proposal letter, the hire letter, from the time you bring them in, from the time you onboard them, the experience of onboard, from the time you follow back up with them to see how they're doing, to see how the recruitment and hiring process actually evolves. All these events are creating and magnifying an experience that's interwoven through feelings and memories. It's not the pay that drives the feeling and the memory, because, right, you've already hired them. From recruitment to retention, what are you doing to retain teammates through their experience? What are you intentionally doing to retain them? And then ultimately, what are you intentionally doing to reward them? Listen, in organizations as leaders, we get what we put in. We get out what we put in organizations. What we intentionally do, we either achieve it or we don't, but it is through intent. I bet you can ask any leader of worth their salt, tell me about your end user, your customer, your client. Tell me how they process, how they behave, how they act, how they purchase from you, how they engage with you. Tell me their behavior patterns, the sociology behind who they are, your target audience, your avatar. And folks would jump right in. This is who they are. This is how they think. This is how they purchase. This is how they interact with us. But I would like to flip that and push you to ask you, who is your teammate? Who is the employee? How are they thinking? How are they behaving? How are they responding? When we think about the experience, if you're not thinking about from the time you source a job to the time someone separates from you, then you're not grasping the magnitude of the employee experience. I want to share something with you about a term that I created, because I think it's, when I was working around, I was doing some research, and I was really trying to dig in around the reasons why people leave organizations. And I wanted to ask this question. We always ask the question why people leave, but I always am interested in, are you asking the question why people stay? Like, why do people stay? What makes your organization awesome in this great experience? I want to share with you the term of the employee experience value proposition. The employee experience value proposition. What does that mean? What does that mean? Many of you may have heard the term value proposition. It's what organizations say, listen, this is what we have to offer you. This is what we have to offer you. This is what we provide you, as opposed to maybe someone else. This is our value proposition, the value that we bring to the table. But the question is, and what's the employee experience value proposition? What makes your organization, you as a leader, when you present to someone that you want to hire, what value proposition are you providing them for the employee experience? And even a deeper question, what value of the experience will make them stay? Why do your teammates stay? The three areas of focus when we think about how we interweave love into the organization, the three areas of focus that I want you to think about. The first is people. How do we intentionally connect with people? The employee experience First and foremost is a connection through passion, because every single person wakes up in the morning and they want to have an amazing day. They're passionate about something. Nobody wakes up and says, I don't want to be better today. Like nobody's coming into your job and saying, no, today I don't want to be better. I don't want to have an amazing day. No, I refuse to. No one's saying that. So if you're being intentional about people, then you're going to be intentional about their passion. You're going to be intentional about what they're skilled in, what their strengths are. You're going to be intentional about activating those passion, skills, and strengths such that you can demonstrate to them, exhibit for them that love shows up in the interest that you have in them. Remember, we're building relationship. We're building relationship. You see, so many of us forget what our true jobs are as leaders. You know, we get lost in the roles and the titles. We get lost in all those the things that we're assigned to do, you know, when the number one thing is to serve. The number one thing that we do when we show up is to serve. And in service, we have to connect and build relationship through the most natural way. The natural way to build relationship is through tapping into someone's passions and their skills and their strengths. It's how we build relationship. The second level, though, is through how we build intentional culture. Intentional culture. The experience itself, the employee experience is literally shaped around personal identity connected to the organizational identity, connected to the values, the shared values that we may have, ultimately connected to the relationships that we build. Let me ask you this question, leaders. What type of mentorship programs do you really have going on when you onboard someone? Glenn, we can't mentor everybody. Yes, everyone can have a mentor in some way. Doesn't matter if you're making $11 an hour, if you're making $11,000 an hour. Are you onboarding your teammates and intentionally crafting and constructing avenues for them to build stronger relationship, ultimately connecting them in a deeper way to the organization? What are you intentionally doing to construct a healthy, safe, caring, compassionate employee experience in your culture? Identity, values, and relationships. The third space is the excellent space, the audacious space, the space that we talk about in many cases the most sometimes, where we talk about how our goals and our metrics and what we want to achieve as an organization, our mission, our vision. If you're not including your teammates, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You are diminishing the employee experience value proposition. How included are your teammates in the audacious goals that you are setting for yourself and your organization? Well, Glenn, we can't include it. Yes, you can. Well, Glenn, it takes too much. No, it doesn't. Teammates don't need you to baby them. They don't need you to pacify them. They don't need you to shelter them. What they need is to be able to illuminate their voice. And everyone illuminates their voice in a different way. Some people are speakers. Some people are thinkers or writers. Some people are artists. Some people are just doers. They just like to be active. But what you intentionally do when it comes to inclusion of your teammates in your excellence vision, how you perceive and prepare and persist to excellence, matters that you include everyone. It's the employee experience. When you look at the research around why people leave organizations, contrary to why people stay in organizations, these are the reasons. People stay in organizations because the organization connects to what they're passionate about. These are reasons now. This is in the research. Organizations connect to what they're passionate about. They know what they're passionate about, and they find ways and opportunities to connect their passion to the work. They find ways to allow and provide opportunities for teammates to bring meaning to meaningful work. I want to say that again. They construct opportunities for teammates to bring meaning to meaningful work. That's why people stay. The other reason is because they give them opportunity to grow their skill sets. It doesn't take thousands of dollars to grow skill set. They intentionally construct avenues to where teammates can grow skill set. And then they tap into their strengths. They tap into their strengths. They construct opportunities for teammates to shine in their strengths. You know, if your teammate is an amazing speaker, is a motivational speaker, put them in the middle of the huddle and let them go to work. Put them in the middle of the huddle, in the team huddle. Let them go to work. Give them 5 minutes to inspire the team. The teammate is a writer, an artist. Give them opportunity to demonstrate the strength. All it's doing is building connection. People stay because they're connected to the shared values that you have. But if you're not intentionally speaking to those values, pulling from people what they believe in and how they feel about those beliefs and how it connects to the work, then you will never know. You won't understand how to illuminate the organization's values and the teammates' values such that they are shared values. And when we have shared values, that's when we build a relationship. It's more difficult to leave you when we have relationship. These are the reasons why people stay. People stay because when it comes to driving excellence, organizations include them. They ask them what they think about the vision. They ask them what they feel about the vision. They find opportunities to include them in the work of this audacious vision. Because when we are included in the excellence vision, we feel connected to the impact. We feel responsible and accountable for the impact. And when we feel connected, you know what I'm about to say, we build relationship. The employee experience value proposition has to be driven through service, has to be driven through relationship. We can't show up in our subconscious as leaders in a privileged space. I'm sorry, I've been there, I've done that. I know what it feels like. You may feel as though you're doing the right thing. You may think you're doing the right thing. But what we understand is the great resignation is happening because you're not providing and constructing the great experience. Well, I know what people ask me all the time. They say, well, it sounds good, Glenn. It sounds good. But how? You know, how do we move from where we are to where we need to be? Well, it's very simple, actually, because you have most of what you need. If you have the intention, then that's the primary thing. You have the intention to create a great experience, then you won't be plagued with the great resignation. I'm going to say that again. If you have the intention to create an experience, from the moment you connect with the prospective teammate to the moment they leave, if your intention is to create a great experience, then that is what will happen, because you will put your time, your energy, your talent, your resources, and all of your will into ensuring that the experience is great. Because when the experience is great, you don't worry about turnover anymore. Nah, it's still a metric, but you don't worry about turnover when the experience is great. because the stories that people will tell will start impacting the statistics that people will see. And the stats will say turnover is going down. Yeah, feelings of connectivity are going up. Disengaged employees decreasing because we're being intentional about the main thing. You see, many of you are intentional about your customers. Many of you are intentional about your customers. Yeah, you got that down pat. You know who they are. You know how they shop. You know how they buy. You know how they respond to your social media. You know who that avatar is. You know how to connect with them and push their buttons. And you know how to get them energized and get them excited and get them ready and get them to buy whatever you're selling. But my question is are your employees buying what you're selling? You can't. I don't know if that hurts somebody's feelings. Are your teammates buying what you're selling? Your problem isn't turnover. Your problem isn't disengaged in employees. Your problem isn't low performance. Your challenge isn't we can't grow fast enough. Your problems don't rest in the outcomes. You guys ain't gonna listen to me. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying to you. Your problems are not resting in the outcomes. Your problems begin from the time you set your intention. Intention is undefeated. Intention is undefeated. Yeah, we got high sales, but our team is leaving in droves. Yeah, we're growing at a high alarming rate, but our employee satisfaction surveys are crushing. Come on now. What are you being intentional about? What are you being intentional about? I want you to take away the 3 R's: recruitment, retention, and rewards. Recruitment, retention, and rewards. Why are people staying in your organization? But maybe you're asking the question, why are they leaving? They're not leaving because of pay. Maybe your pay is low. I don't know. They're not leaving because you don't have a ping pong table. They're not leaving because you don't have Taco Tuesdays. They're not leaving because you don't have Fridays off. Or you're not leaving because you don't allow them to work fully remote. Most of everyone is leaving because of the experience. The experience is just not great. So I want you to think about your employee experience value proposition. What is it? What's your employee experience value proposition? And if you can get to a place to where you can articulate what you feel that it should be, the next question is, where should you start acknowledging what it is? I would posit to you that you should start acknowledging what it is in the job description. Let people know what your experience will be. Let people know what they will experience when and if they join your organization. Folks, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. What you intend to do will happen. What you intend to do will happen. All right. That's it. That's it. Dr. Putney been going in. Dr. Putney been going in. Questions. Anybody's got any questions? Go ahead and drop a question if you have a question while we're still on. Putney, you've been dropping in. I see you, brother. Ms. Tolliver. Who else is in? Questions. What are some of the questions? We get a lot of objections sometimes from folks about what they focus on in organizations and the difficulties. But from your systems to your automated systems, the automations, your processes, you got to be intentional about everything you do. I read job descriptions every single day, and there's some really bad ones out there. I mean, literally. Like, it's a new day, and it's amazing what job description it says something to somebody. You know, it's just like dating. It's like if you put a dating job description, you go on a dating website and you got this job description and you're talking about all the assignments that are going to happen if you decide to pick me, but you ain't talking about the experience. Like you You're not talking about, it's going to be fun. It's going to be engaging. You're going to have opportunity to grow. We're going to challenge you. We're going to go on hikes and we're going to do amazing things. And you're going to be able to fulfill your passion. You got to talk to people from the first time they engage with you about the experience. What questions do you think you have? What questions would you pose to others in this space of employee experience? Because it's simple, guys. It's simple. It's simple. We're blaming everything else, but it's about the experience. It's about the event, the experience, the feeling, and the memory. Come on. I remember Chuck E. Cheese like it was yesterday. Let me tell you something. I still go to Chuck E. Cheese. Now, I go with my kids, but let me tell you something. Even when I didn't have kids, I was going to Chuck E. Cheese because I just loved it. It was the experience. Now, the pizza kind of changed over time, but it's all good. They had beer, and I have a beer, and I play my games, and I give my little tickets to kids or something. They can go get them a prize or something. But I love the experience. You know what I'm talking about when you going on a vacation and you hit the airport and just everything going right. You get through TSA pre-check and you get to your plane and they bump you up to first class. You're drinking free alcohol. I don't know if you drink or not. If you got a good meat. I mean, the experience. But I tell you one thing, you go on vacation and have a bad flight. Go on vacation and have a bad flight. I don't care how many great flights you have after that. You're going to always talk about that bad flight. You're going to always talk about that bad flight. Now, come on now. What are your teammates doing in your organization right now? They're telling stories about their experience. They're telling stories about what they feel, the memories that they have about the experience. And let me tell you what's even worse. Let me tell you what's worse. Not only are they telling stories to the people that work in your organization, they're telling stories to the people who are in the prospective pool. Yeah, they're telling stories to the talent pool. They're telling stories to people that don't even work there yet. They're sharing their feelings and their memories of their experience in your organization. The question is, what are they telling them? Well, you know what they're telling them. Just the statistics, the data says what they're telling them. But I'll tell you, the stats don't say everything. No, because folks, they hold back in surveys. They hold back in some of those metrics that you're trying to survey them on. They hold back, but they go in personal conversations. Now, they go in. They may check 3 or 4 on the survey box, but they go in when the friends ask them, how was it working there? Let me tell you something. Show me somebody that returns to an organization happily. I'll show you an organization that probably has a great experience. Yeah. Every now and then on LinkedIn, you'll see somebody say, I returned to my organization. I'm glad to be back. It was a long road, but I had to get back here. I checkmark those organizations. And the reason why I checkmark them, because you rarely see that on LinkedIn. You rarely see somebody just being excited about returning somewhere, because when they do, I registered that in my mind. That's a place where people love to work. That's a place probably with a great experience. Folks, I want you to focus on something. I want you to focus on the experience. Beyond the job description, employees that are already in their position, how do you create the great experience with already existing employees? Great question. Yeah, let me tell you something. This is where it gets real. This is where the rubber meets the road, right? How do you create an experience, a great experience, where the culture is already not so great? I'm gonna tell you something. Look, it's real simple. You gotta be contrite. You gotta have contrition. Listen, this is the best time than ever to have contrition. Coming out of a pandemic, 2 years removed, people have had these aha moments, these Oprah Winfrey moments, where they're like, you know what? Like, I wasn't doing it right this way. You know what? I want to do it differently. Organizations have an opportunity to show contrition right now. And I mean, the best way to do it is to go right at it. I mean, speak the truth to power. I mean, talk about it, say it out loud. That's the first step. If you want to change culture where you are right now into the great experience, you gotta show contrition. There's no way around it. You can't finesse your way out of it. You can't pay your way out of it. You can't perk your way out of it. You have to show contrition. You have to admit to what's happening and what has happened. And then you have to demonstrate through your behavior what can happen, what can be, what will be. To answer that question, which is the great question, and we get it all the time. How do you change what's not so good into the great experience? You got to start with contrition. You got to speak words to it. You got to say it out loud. You got to own it. You have to. And what better time than to own it than a time of 2 years of self-reflection in a global pandemic? As an organization, if you are ready to go from average or ordinary to extraordinary to create a great experience for the leaders and the people that are still hanging on, regardless of what they may feel or their memories, if you're ready, do it now. My goodness, this is the best time. You can put out the statement from the CEO. Hey, we realized something over these last 2 years. We haven't valued our teammates the way they deserve to be valued. That's a powerful statement. We haven't done it. And we're not going to say that it's going to be perfect from here on out. But what we are saying is that our intention is going to be driven through ensuring that the experience that our teammates have here are our priority. Come on now. You got to be contrite. You got to set that privileged subconscious mindset aside. We got to remember why we're here, folks. The person making $11 an hour that's 10 levels below you, they're not here to serve you. Come on. They're not here to serve you. The contrary. You are here to serve them. And if you can't get on with that, then I'm sorry. Then you can't get on with this. Because if you know like I know, the person making $11 an hour is doing the heavy lifting for an organization. For an organization. And your one job as a leader is to serve them, to ensure that they are illuminated, that their voice, that their skills and their passions and their strengths, their identity, their shared values, the relationships are strengthened. The connectionship is built and constructed intentionally so that you don't have to ask them to go above and beyond because you have demonstrated through your intent that you value them more than they even know. And because of such, they opt in to not only the job, they opt into the vision. They opt into the mission. They opt into going above and beyond what you ask them to do through your compensation package. You can't get extra through just pay. It doesn't work that way. Extra comes from in here, the heart. Extra comes from the relationship. You've been in a relationship before. Extra don't come from how much you paid somebody, how many times you took them out. No. Extra comes in when you feel valued, loved, cared for, included. That's where extra comes from. That's where extraordinary comes from. That's a great question. Organizations, leaders, you got to be contrite. All right. I appreciate everybody. Take care of yourselves. Employee experience, value proposition. Go forward. Catch you on the replay. I love you. Thanks for showing up this morning. I'll talk to you soon.